If Thunderhoof is so strong, why hasn't he killed Sideswipe yet? Hey! This rabbit hole started because we were making jokes about Thunderhoof, mostly him being low on energon. Thing is, even when he's practically running on fumes, he can still pummel Grimlock. Sideswipe is 4 times lighter and 10 times more inexperienced than Grimlock, so Thunderhoof would have no difficulty killing him. So why is Sideswipe still alive despite going hoof to head with one of the top 10 most dangerous cons? And believe me, it's not because he's a literal sparkling, has good luck, or suffers from plot armor. It's a lot more deliberate than that. Okay, if I sound a little out of it, that's because I'm in pain. It's what I'm doing. Our theory is that Thunderhoof is holding back. To explain this, we have to look at how he fights each Bee team member. Grimlock. From day one, he trashes Grimlock, tossing him around with just his antlers, then walked off with a 2-ton generator on his back. His only injury was a sprained axle. Mind you, this was when he wasn't running on fumes. He doesn't fight Grimlock again until the episode Prepare for Departure, where he drops off the Team B down a drops all of Team B down a 3-mile gap, knowing that it would just stall them. Then later in the episode, he pins Grimlock to the wall, holding him there for a minute or so before he gets his hands thrown to the side and his face kicked in. Grimlock stepping on him twice. He's low on energon, so he doesn't bother getting up until Grimlock goes rolling down the stairs during being the first to leave. Then the next episode, Grimlock throws the first kick. Thunderhoof gets up and they wrestle. Him pushing him back and body slamming Grim to the ground is one move before bolting after clampdown. After B distracts him, Grim manages to tackle Thunderhoof from above. Thunderhoof beats him off screen, only to get tackled by Grim again minutes later. He almost broke an antler from the force. You could have continued the fight as he very clearly woke up, but was way too low on energon to do anything, sleeping all the way back to his makeshift cell, throwing a minor tantrum once they arrived. Bumblebee. Yeah, Thunderhoof dislikes him, but understands he's Steeljaw's problem. B, upon meeting him, practically picks a fight with a bot that doesn't like blunt disrespect, even from cops. Thunderhoof just states that he was a crime boss. Cops have protocol for these kinds of criminals, and B used none of it. Thunderhoof tackles B, sliding him several feet. B, because of his height, manages to throw him over his shoulder, only to learn why he's called Thunderhoof. B had to be saved by Sideswipe to keep from being atomized. Then later he sends steel beams at him to save Sideswipe, throwing him to another part of the woods. In Battleground Part 1, he goes full attack mode on Bumblebee, showing off 2 cards. In Exiles, he strikes B without hesitation, sending him falling off a railing into concrete. Then, after Strongarm gets in a kick, B shoves him into a turbine, zapping him. In Prepare for Departure, he sends him falling into a hole. In Prisoner Principles, he pulls another attack card on Bumblebee, sending him flying into his hood. He then prepares to stomp his foot. Given B's position, he was going to crush his hand. After beating Grimlock, he turns to B and contemplates fighting him before running away. B finds him and leaps onto his back, sticking his antlers in a tree to save Strongarm. Thunderhoof repeatedly punches him until he's off, it ending there. Strongarm. She doesn't get to meet him until Lockout, but even then, they never throw hands. In Battleground Part 2, he ducks Sideswipe and attacks her, locking antlers with her weapon as he pushes her towards the water, until Sideswipe gets his sword stuck and he starts swinging them both around like ragdolls, him getting beaten. In Decepticon Island Part 2, he knocks her down, then repeatedly stomps his foot, sending her into the air, treating her like a toy. In Strongarm's Big Score, she fights a training bot that is designed with Thunderhoof's currently known moves that Fix-It programmed it with. It almost kills her despite it being weaker than the real Thunderhoof. In Exiles, he shoots at her, then later tries to attack her with a running start, only for her to kick him towards Bumblebee. In Prepare for Departure, he drops her into a hole. In Prisoner Principles, she's attached to the guy he's trying to kill. He first kicks them to keep them from being cuffed, throws clamped on, then tries to stomp them both, killing a tree, before trying to stomp a second time later. He leaves her alone after that. The humans in Fix-It he just treats like hostages and that's his only interaction with them. Considering he absolutely hates Clampdown, we'll mention him here too. He outright doesn't hesitate to hurt and kill him when given the chance. Clampdown knows exactly how dangerous Thunderhoof is and does everything in his power to avoid his attacks. Luck, cowardice, and usefulness being the only things keeping him alive. Does he treat Sideswipe differently? When he first meets Sideswipe, Sideswipe half agrees with Thunderhoof, trying to talk B into letting them try out the malfunctioning space bridge, just as desperate as Thunderhoof himself to go home.
B, maybe we should think about this. It's not like we have a space bridge. maybe his will work and we don't want to stay on Earth forever, do we?
Then he tries to reason with him to save Bumblebee, lying to his face to gain his trust. Thunderhoof recognizes this and plays along, figuring the kid has an angle. He recognizes the thing on Sideswipe's back, then proceeds to test him by turning his back on him. Sideswipe goes for it, and Thunderhoof turns around and grabs him, pushing him towards the portal to test it for him, calling him out for his lying.
You thought you could scam me by pretending to switch sides, Autobot? How did that work out for you?
He's even impressed that Sideswipe does a gutsy move. When being pulled into the black hole, he tries to reach for Sideswipe's foot, intending to take him with him. In Sideways, Sideswipe grabs him by the antlers in an attempt to stop him from killing Clampdown, Thunderhoof tossing him with the flick of his neck before running off. In Lockout, Sideswipe makes the first move, leaping towards him with his sword. Thunderhoof catches him with his antlers and throws him off, turning around and charging, pinning him to the shelves. He gives Sideswipe a challenging smirk while Sideswipe struggles to hold him off, zapping him with who knows how many volts to win. In Battleground Part 1, he manages to get the jump on him with 2 hits, carrying him over his shoulder. In Part 2, Sideswipe attempts to hold him back with his sword, then tries swinging. Thunderhoof dodges, then changes targets. Sideswipe turns himself around and manages to lodge his sword in his antler, getting swung around like a ragdoll. In Decepticon Island Part 2, they face off again, and Sideswipe arrogantly says this:
Do you really want to try this again, Hornhead? How many times have we beaten you?
Thunderhoof immediately puts him in his place with Crime Boss Wisdom and a headbutt. He then proceeds to toy with him like he wants him to pull a stunt. When Sideswipe gets kicked over to the controls, Thunderhoof just watches him despite being fast enough to stop him if he wanted to. Sideswipe activates the ear-bleeding noise, knocking out Thunderhoof and Ground Pounder. Thunderhoof going down first because his antlers amplify it. In Strong Arm's Big Score, Sideswipe fights a training bot with all Thunderhoof's known moves, it throwing him around like the real one until he manages to kick its head off. Not once is he scared of it.
Watch out for his antlers!
Hey, this isn't my first rodeo with Thunderhoof, you know.
In Exiles, he climbs up to Sideswipe's walkway and threatens him, running at him with his head down. Sideswipe leaps over him and cuts his gun in half, surprising him, then tosses him over the side with his sword. In Prepare for Departure, he threatens him again while blocking and holding Sideswipe's blade in place. After a bit, he does a few swings with his pickaxe, treating it like a practice sword. He's not even putting in much effort because Sideswipe is half distracted. He keeps the fight even until Sideswipe kicks him away. Then Thunderhoof drops him in a hole. He charges at Sideswipe for an attack only for Grimlock to step between them, him pinning him into the wall. In Prisoner Principles, he ducks into the woods, then jumps out, sending Sideswipe and Bee onto their hoods. After overturning Grimlock, he turns to them and contemplates fighting them before running off. And their fights just end there. We've stated in a previous video that Thunderhoof is extremely intelligent, stronger than Grimlock, and keeps his cards close to his chest. He's also met a lot of bots, so he knows what makes them tick, who to trick, and who to kill. Sideswipe comes along and proves himself as crafty, resourceful, and gutsy, but naive and a bit brash.
Thunderhoof, we should check the connections in this space bridge before we...
Hey, you're a smart kid, but don't tell me my business. I got an empire to get home to.
But...
which amuses him, gives him an idea on how to take Sideswipe with him. It's highly likely that he planned to make him a loyal lackey. He recognizes that Sideswipe needs guidance and is fully willing to use it, unlike Bumblebee, who forgets that Sideswipe is a literal sparkling. Because Thunderhoof has this caring, playful side, he would have leaned into it as his friend, likely how he managed to get Scowl to be an enforcer. Instead, Bee ruins that, keeping Sideswipe away from him. Plan B. Toy with the boy. See what he'll do. He badly attempts to banter with Sideswipe to get him talking.
You're gonna maintain my hoof in your carburetor!
Sounds painful. I'll pass.
I'm gonna put a hole in your chassis big enough to drive a tractor through it!
Yeah, I don't like your chances!
Fights with him while holding back most of his strength and attack moves. The more he learns about him, the easier he'll be to manipulate later, and you can see that he's figured out several things. Like Sideswipe is self-taught in combat, it's why he pushes Sideswipe into a corner. He wants this flashy child to show his cards. Then he drops the Autobots in an earth crack. He stands there pleased with himself, almost expecting to see what happens next. He stomps his foot, attempting to keep them airborne, toying with them. Then, when he's not after Sideswipe, he talks to them like he's just a kid, even correcting his mindset.
Me and Wacko Eyes have business to settle.
Afraid I can't do. Ah! Do you really want to try this again, Hornhead? How many times have we beaten you?
Let me give you punks some wisdom I picked up as a boss on Cybertron. It ain't who wins the most fights. Just who wins the last one.
He doesn't see him as his enemy, but knows Sideswipe thinks he is, so he plays along. To be honest, I think the reason he does all this is because Sideswipe is a lot like Scowl, but smarter, sarcastic, and calmer. We only get one episode with Scowl, but the similarities in mentality and maturity are there.
That sounds boring. I smash what I want, when I want, and I ain't stopping for no bot.
Stop! Or I'll... Eat my exhaust? Woo!
Please, take me to jail. This place is so much worse.
Move it, Sideswipe!
Back to Hassle Planet Cybertron? Forget that. And forget you two.
Okay, so how did my babysitters get me to sit still?
Duct tape?
Do. For the quieter we are, the more likely we will be to hear our foe.
You're a punk. You know how to take out security systems, don't you?
No. Maybe. He's too cool. Kind of reminds me of someone.
These little screamers are so weird.
Please exit the spa. A rare kangaroo has escaped from the exotic animal park.
Both are crafty, take you at your word, need someone to look up to, wants friends, guidance, etc. Thunderhoof managed to fill those roles for Scowl, making him a very loyal enforcer. No doubt he wanted to use the same tactics on Sideswipe despite the bad foot they started on. He likely also started on a bad foot with Scowl, given that Khan is a wrecker. Wreckers are mostly Autobots. So Thunderhoof knows what he's doing when he lets Sideswipe win. Let him show off his cards, grow overconfident and sloppy. Let him get so high that when the time is right, he'll get knocked down and his whole world flipped upside down, making him easier to manipulate and control. In Exiles, you can see that he's weaned off the idea a bit, wanting to return home, it picking back up during their fight. Why does he even want Sideswipe as a lackey anyway? Well, a crafty boy who can outrun most bots would be extremely useful smuggling illegal goods. Train him to kill, and he'd make a good hitman. As someone as friendly and innocent as Sideswipe would make an excellent recruiter. Or Thunderhoof just wants a sparring partner. So many uses. Thunderhoof wouldn't know where to start. Why not do the same with the others? He can't. Bumblebee is too experienced to be manipulated. Strongarm is a stickler for rules and has a clear role model, making her hard to manipulate. Grimlock may be dumb, but he's hard to manipulate and will stick to the side he thinks is more fun. Drift is a samurai, and so are his minis. Windblade is only good for target practice. And Fix and the humans are too small to do anything he would want, other than to build things. And the guys he's working with are technically his goons already. Steeljaw just needs to kick the bucket to make it official. By Sideswipe making Thunderhoof his nemesis, he's practically running headfirst into a trap. Remember, Thunderhoof is a crime boss. They're masters of playing the long game. And what could be longer than a Cybertronian lifespan? The writers seriously missed a huge storyline, which should have been Season 4, Episode 22, but we got Underbite eating part of their ground bridge and hiccups everywhere instead. Which is honestly purebred filler. What they should have done with this. It's Sideswipe's turn to feed the prisoners in their makeshift cells. He carefully approaches Thunderhoof's cell and quickly tosses in an energon cube. Thunderhoof pushes it away, gaining Side's curiosity. Sides gets a stick and pushes the cube towards him, only for Thunderhoof to not to take it. Sideswipe gets frustrated and asks why he won't drink it for the upteenth time. After no answer, he opens the cell and tries handing him the cube directly, poking his face with it. Thunderhoof grabs his arm, then asks a serious question. Sideswipe answers in hopes that he'll let go. Thunderhoof glares at him before letting him go and motions to the door of the cell, ordering him to sit. Sides looks around before sitting, talking with Thunderhoof. Thunderhoof planting ideas in his head. While engrossed, Strongarm catches him and calls him out on his behavior. Sideswipe tries to defend himself, but gets pulled from feeding duty, making him upset. While they're on a mission, Thunderhoof breaks out of his cell, freeing Underbite and Quillfire while giving Clampdown a message. Clampdown repeating the message when the Autobots return. They find the Thunderhoof alone, and he claims that he only wants to talk to Sideswipe. B doesn't allow it, and they all fight. Thunderhoof doesn't hold back, taking out the entire team. He takes the unconscious Sideswipe and carries him off deep into the woods. Sideswipe wakes up and goes for his sword, only to find he doesn't have it. Thunderhoof stops fixing the Decepticon hunter and looks up from the campfire, telling him he's not going to hurt him. Sides asks why Thunderhoof wanted him so badly, and Thunderhoof avoids the question by telling Sides that he wants to hear. B's team goes looking for him, unable to find his signal, worried that he might be dead. Thunderhoof gets up and hands Sides his weapon back and starts teaching him how to fight, congratulating him when he gets it right. Team B finds Underbite and Quillfire and fights them. Thunderhoof pretends he's tired, and they both sit, him asking Sideswipe what's on his mind. Sideswipe tells him everything he's been through and how everyone has treated him spelling things he'd never tell the others. Thunderhoof throwing in his opinion every so often. He smiles when Sideswipe tells him that he feels like he can trust him when he's not trying to kill them. Thunderhoof laughing and assuring him that he never intended to kill him, surprising him. Thunderhoof motions him closer and fiddles with Sideswipe's arms, giving him new weapons, implanting something. Sideswipe plays with his new weapons for a bit before turning to see Thunderhoof sleeping. Sideswipe thinks for a bit before putting the fire out and leaving. Thunderhoof opens his optics and smiles, pulling out a radio and turning it on. It listening to Sideswipe's happy reunion with his team, him lying about what happened on the way back to base with Underbite and Quillfire in tow, all of it bringing Sideswipe's loyalty into question. Leaving it unresolved would have added layers to the story even after the show ends, making it a rather interesting episode. But no, they just leave Thunderhoof defeated and lock him up despite being able to easily escape at any point. He was completely wasted, and that's what we got. Bye! Comment, like, and subscribe. Don't be rude to me. Bye!